what's the advantage of being the cross connector? What do you get out of it, and what do you give?
Mm. Good question. Yeah, no, that's what you get out of it is, I mean, you get some satisfaction, of course. It's always nice to be the guy that, hey, I connected them. That was kind of cool. They're great stuff. Um, though that's usually not a financial gain of it at all. But there is, there is times that you can uh, broker a deal if that's the right term, or connect somebody with who can make someone else a lot of money, and it's not you're not doing any harm for anybody if they're both helping each other to take a broker fee. Like if someone over here is a great designer, someone over here needs a great design, be that lead connect.
You need to hook them up.
Yeah, exactly. And you don't have to take a percentage or anything, but you can. And that's another, that's they call that, joint venture stuff. And I don't really do much of that, but it is another business model you can use your relationships with. And so that's a way. And another, I don't know, I think there's just that you're always connected with great people, and you can calling in favor might not be the right way to put it, but if, for me, it was when I launched my product, I called in a lot of people and just said, hey, here's what's going on. If you think it's a good fit for your list, be honest with me and let me know. And some of the greatest, sales and things I got were, I mean, most of my sales were through that method, right? I'd say 99% actually.
So, so how many JV partners did you reach out to, and how many did you actually end up getting?
So I've actually got a wall of people like over here. I'd show you, but I'd get in trouble. So it's a whiteboard with names and stuff, and a bunch of names, right? So they're whatever. Um, a lot of people it wasn't a good fit, right? So I'm not going to push the envelope. And like people like Frank Kern, they don't promote products anymore unless pay them a lot of money. So it's not like the close ratio was as important as was it a quality fit, right? So if you have a bunch of connections and you have a good product, they're going to promote based on not necessarily the relationship, even though that is the way you open the door, right? They're going to promote if their list is, for me, it was, okay, are they small business owners? So that's all I really reached out to was those kinds of people that had lists around that. And, the best one I had was with a big list of people who all needed small business advice. So that was perfect, right? So that's kind of that's what you got to look at. It's not necessarily it is the relationship that opens the door, but you don't want someone to promote your product if they're not even related to your niche, right? So that's something you got to keep in mind too. Is if they're are they real? Are their promotions going to actually benefit them as well? So you got to keep that in mind.
And how'd you find those people to begin with
Uh,
before you connected with them?
a lot of it was serendipity. It's like it's really hard to strategize who you're going to connect with. And I guess one way I did do it was, all right, when reports come out, like the top 20 people in social media that you should follow. All right, I go and I'm adding every single one of them. And it takes time. There's no way around. You're not going to build a relationship overnight. And some people, I've been following them for years. Like Mari Smith was somebody I would followed for a long time and never really closed the conversation. Um, but now we're connected like that, and it sometimes does take a long time. Um, but to your question, a good way I would say is look at their audience, look at their products. Is your a similar audience type, but a different product, right? So I don't think Kajabi is going to promote my product anytime soon because it's a competitive product. But someone with like a YouTube course for small business, they're going to have a similar audience segment. So um, you can look at people's products, find out who made it, and connect with them that way too.
So it's more about the list than it is about the person.
Uh, I don't know if I'd say that. Sometimes it is like for your product promotion, but sometimes, like for instance, a connection I have, we're doing a product together now. So that's another way you can bring a lot of value to the table in that way. Say, listen, you've got a list and you've got your own products. What if I built a product, took care of all of the, backroom stuff, right? Like build up everything, and then we promote it together. Even though they're bringing a big list to the table, you're doing most of the back end work, right? So it's finding the audience first and then building a product around the audience. And usually there's one or two people that control that decision. So if you can get in with them, bring value to them, that's another great way. And I honestly think that's the best way to build a product, is not necessarily, Eureka, I got an idea about a product. It's, okay, who do I know that has a good list of people, a loyal list, and that I respect their business model and I respect them, that we can do some work together. And that is probably the best way to do it, I would say, just aside from building your own audience, which is pretty expensive.
Which is something that we did talk about before this call. I mentioned that I created content for someone who has a very large list, and you mentioned that you do the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a great example. I think if you want exposure and get get paid to get exposure, a great way to do that is similar to what we're doing, where it's, all right, they need content, we need an audience, let's create that content, get our names and face in front of that audience, and it's going to help them, it's going to help us, it's going to be mutually beneficial. So that's another great way, if you've connected with somebody, to build that thing. And you don't have to do it for free. You can. There's nothing wrong with that, even though there's some people that would say, never do anything you're good at free. But sometimes you have to build up that kind of equity too. So, and that's how I got my first big contract, was be willing to give a ton more at the beginning, open the door, and then I was able to actually get a full-time job doing it. So, it is important to build those initial base relationships. Yeah. Sure.
All right, I hope you enjoyed this video, and be sure to like, share, and comment below. Subscribe to this channel for more interviews, and if you want to go further and be live on the interviews, you can go to mmt.tv/live to find out how. Like on Facebook and follow on Twitter to ask your questions, and be sure to get on the mailing list. Go to mmt.tv to get access to all the things that are not contained in these interviews. All the links are mentioned below, and until next time, break the rules, change the game, and be a rock star.